10 Haunted Legends of Texas, Real or Just a Curse. There's something people rarely mention when talking about Texas. It's not the barbecue. It's not the cowboys. It's the ghost. Deep in the overgrown woods, on old, creaking wooden bridges, and in the heart of towns that seem peaceful at first glance, linger restless spirits, chilling legends, and ancient curses that were never broken. These are the 10 most terrifying ghost stories from Texas, some passed down for generations, others so disturbing they left entire towns haunted with fear. So sit back, let this play while you eat, while you work, or as you drift off to sleep. I'm Ryan. Let's get started. The Goatman's Bridge, Texas' darkest crossing. Not all ghosts come from forgotten graves. Some are born from hatred, from cruelty, and from a rope swinging in the dark. Just 7 miles south of Denton, Texas, hidden by overgrown woods and long-forgotten trails, stands an old iron bridge. Locals call it the Goatman's Bridge. Once it had another name, proper name, the Old Alton Bridge. Built in 1884, it was meant to be a simple crossing, a quiet passage over Hickory Creek for wagons and horses. It served travelers for over a century, until the road was straightened, the bridge abandoned, and the past left to rot. But the past never really left. They say, if you stand on the bridge long enough, you'll hear hooves where there are no horses. You'll see eyes glowing in the dark. And sometimes, if you dare to cross it at night with your headlights off, he'll be waiting on the other side. But who is he? The story begins in the 1930s with a man named Oscar Washburn. He was a black goat farmer, honest, hardworking, proud. He raised goats on the land near the bridge with his family, selling milk, meat, and hides. Over time, people came to know him simply as the Goatman, and business was good, too good. One day, Oscar nailed a small hand-painted sign onto the bridge. It read, "This way to the Goatman." Simple, harmless, a local charm, but to the wrong eyes, it was an offense. To the men in white hoods who still roamed the South in secret. To the hate-filled cowards who couldn't stand to see a black man succeed. On a moonless night in August 1938, they came for him. They crossed the bridge with their headlights off, silent, calculated, cruel. They dragged Oscar from his home. His children screamed. His wife begged. But they didn't stop. They tied a noose around his neck, marched him to the center of the bridge, and hurled him over the side. But when they looked down, he was gone. The noose swung empty. The water below was still. Oscar Washburn had vanished. Furious and afraid, they turned back to his home and did something far worse. They slaughtered his entire family. From that night on, the Goatman was no longer just a man. He became something else. Something that refused to rest. People say if you go to the bridge alone at night, the air shifts. It gets heavier, thicker, like you're not supposed to be there, like something ancient and angry is watching you. Some claim to have seen a shadowed figure walking across the bridge, herding goats that vanish as they step into the mist. Others report a towering creature, part man, part goat, staring from the woods with burning red eyes. There are whispers of disembodied laughter, of hooves stomping the old planks, of snarling voices in languages no one recognizes. They say if you honk your horn twice on Halloween, you might catch a glimpse of the Goatman. But they never say what happens if he catches you. And he's not alone. Today, the bridge stands silent, closed to vehicles, forgotten by time. But if you walk across it, really walk across it, and listen closely, you might hear the rope creak. And you might ask yourself, what if he never fell? What if he's still there, waiting, just beyond the fog? El Muerto, the Headless Horseman of Texas. Back in the 1800s, Texas wasn't just wild, it was savage. A land ruled by outlaws, raiders, and something even worse. To bring order, the Texas Rangers were born. Men who delivered justice with a bullet, not always a trial. But not even they were ready for the legend they helped create. The thief who chose the wrong horse. In the mid-1800s, a clever horse thief named Vidal was terrorizing southern Texas. He stole livestock, vanished across the Mexican border, and slipped through every trap until he stole from the wrong man. One of those horses belonged to Creed Taylor, a hardened Texas Ranger. And Taylor didn't hunt alone. He called in Bigfoot Wallace, a giant of a man, and Rancher Flores. They tracked Vidal's gang silently, striking at night. The bandits never stood a chance. But killing Vidal wasn't enough. Back then, horse theft was worse than murder. So they made an example. Wallace beheaded Vidal, strapped his body upright to a wild Mustang, tied the severed head to the saddle horn, and let the horse run free. The birth of El Muerto. For days, maybe weeks, people reported a terrifying sight. A headless man in tattered clothes, tied to a raging black horse, his head bouncing against the saddle, a sombrero swinging in the wind. Bullets didn't stop it. Whispers grew. The rider became El Muerto, the headless one. Cowboys claimed he brought misfortune. Some saw him under the full moon. Others said he galloped beside wagons in silence, then vanished. Eventually, ranchers caught the horse near Ben Bolt, Texas. Vidal's corpse was riddled with bullets and arrows from both settlers and Comanche. They buried him in an unmarked grave, hoping that would end it. But it didn't. He still rides. Years later, soldiers at Fort Inga spotted him. In 1917, a couple near San Diego, Texas, saw a gray stallion charging through the trees. Rider screaming, "It's mine!" In 1969, he was seen near Freer, still headless, still riding. They say when the wind shifts through the mesquite and the moon is high, you might hear hoofs pounding the dirt behind you. Don't look, don't call out, and whatever you do, don't follow. Just ride, ride fast, and don't stop until the sun rises. The haunted railroad tracks, San Antonio's ghost children. Some say it's just an illusion. Others swear it's the hands of children reaching from the other side. Just south of San Antonio, tucked between the suburbs and the shadows of the San Juan Mission, there's a quiet intersection. No flashing lights, no bells, just a lonely set of railroad tracks and a story that refuses to die. Locals call it the Ghost Tracks. They say it happened in the 1930s, or maybe the 40s. Records are unclear, maybe lost, maybe erased. But the story has never stopped being told. It was a rainy morning in Texas. A school bus was stalled across the tracks, its engine sputtering, tires slick in the mud. And then came the sound, a distant whistle growing louder. A train. The engineer saw the bus too late. He pulled the brakes. He screamed into the horn. But the iron beast was already moving too fast, too close. And then, impact. 10 children died that morning. At least that's what the legend says. But the story doesn't end there. It's what happens after that has made this place famous. They say if you park your car on those tracks and put it in neutral, something pushes you off, uphill, against gravity, away from danger, as if invisible hands are protecting you from the same fate they met long ago. And if you're clever, if you sprinkle baby powder on your bumper, you might see them, small handprints, tiny fingers, ghostly smudges, pressed in from the other side. People have come from all across the country to witness it. Sightings, unsolved mysteries, Texas magazines, newspapers, documentaries, all trying to answer the same question. Is it real or just a myth? Some say it's just a trick of the land, a 2-degree slope that looks like an incline, but actually slopes downward. Others say the handprints, just leftover oil from before, finger grease, soap residue, nothing paranormal. But those who've been there, they know different. I drove there in a Lincoln Continental. One visitor said, parked it, engine off. The car moved on its own across the tracks. When we got out, the man behind the wheel was pale, shaking. He said something pushed him, tried to stop it, couldn't. Another woman wrote, I had baby powder on my car. When I checked, dozens of prints, small ones, and some adult-sized. None of them matched mine. All of them facing upward, like someone pushing. But not all the stories are so innocent. As the legend grew, so did the visitors. And with them came traffic noise and something darker. Carjackings, robberies, vandalism, drugs. Local police warn, be careful what you're really afraid of. These days, the ghost tracks are heavily watched, but some still go, especially on Halloween. They park. They wait. They listen. Some hear laughter, some hear whispers, and some hear the whistle. It's just a myth, the skeptics say. It's just a road. But those who've been pushed, those who've heard the screams, they say the children are still there, and they don't want anyone else to die. So if you ever go, turn off your engine, set your car in neutral, put the baby powder on your bumper, and remember, they're not trying to scare you, they're trying to save you. I was only messing around, don't do it for real. Alright, this video's gotten pretty long, so that's the end of part 1. I think I'll stop here for now. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to support me with a like and a sub. And if you know more about this topic, or if I missed something or got anything wrong, drop a comment below. I gathered this info from various sources, so it might not be 100% accurate. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.